Okay, so continuing on, well, actually before I do, I just want to mention, so everything that I'm showing in this tutorial, I labeled the tutorial piping because obviously it's all plumbing, but there's some piping that's used for the mechanical system. Piping used for the mechanical are the condensate lines, and again, the piping is used the same way. It's the same kind of techniques that I'm showing you here. Obviously, you would just use the standard type pipe for uh, the refrigerant lines for the mechanical system, but it's the same kind of stuff that goes into for it. Um, so now I'm going to start to show you how to connect to fixtures. For the different piping. So now you can see there. There's if you look at my system, there's some areas where I start to reduce the pipe. Or it starts off one size and it gets smaller. Typically for for like hot and cold water out of the sink or a toilet, it's always a half inch, and you can see when you actually click on a sink that you may bring in, it'll say half inch hot water, half inch cold water, and then for sanitary for a sink, it's usually an inch and a quarter to an inch and a half, depending on the type of sink that you bring in. For toilets, it's a half inch for the cold water, and then the sanitary is usually 3 inches. You can see it's 3 inches out. This is a mop sink for a janitor. If you guys have a shower, again, a shower for hot and cold water, it's always a half inch at the fixture. Sanitary for a shower is between an inch and a half to 2 inches. But again, when you bring in a shower through that MEP that I showed you, before, if you go to plumbing fixture and then load and do plumbing MEP fixtures, and you bring in a shower. This is showers, stalls, and tubs, or you can bring in a bathtub. It'll have the hot and cold water on it as well, and then the sanitary that you can just come off of. I'm actually going to spin around so I can see the hot and cold water. Obviously, like for this purpose now, just it's easy for me to see. I'm not going to put the colors, but you may guys want to set up the colors once I show them how to do color. First, actually, you know what? I'll just do it right now, so it's easier for you guys to see while I'm doing the video. So before I get into how to actually finish connecting to the fixtures, I'm going to show you how to do the colors to start to see colors. So either through the View tab and Visibility Graphics, or you can edit visibility when you're in the view. Go over to Filters, and I'm gonna remove this for the cold water for a second. So obviously, when you first do this, you're not gonna have all this here. What you have to do is you'll hit Add, and you'll get a list. So all these will be here, and you can select every single one, hit OK, and it'll bring it in. Now to override its graphics, you would just click on Pattern, and you would hit Solid. Cold water is blue. So hot and cold water is always blue. It's an industry, obviously, thing. It's typical. Hot water, it says red. So solid, I can make this red. Vent pipe. I for my work that I do, it's usually like a teal or a green. But again, you can do any color that you guys would want to do. Sanitary, again, it's another one that you can kind of make. Sanitary, it's usually kind of like a magenta that I use, that we use for my work that I do. But again, that's something that you can make it, whatever color you want it to be. And then, so that's the patterns. And then now you see it adds color to everything. And that's how you put color onto the pipe itself. You can do the same for fixtures if you want fixtures, but obviously some fixtures have, multiple things going to it. So, you probably won't want to do fixtures. And then you can see here how I'm in a hidden line view because it's easier to for this presentation than I was for setting up the presentation. It was easier to see in hidden line. But if you switch over to shaded, it keeps the color. So the color will stay there even if you're in shaded or hidden line. I recommend when you're putting in the pipe and be in a hidden line view, the file won't go slow. If you're in shaded view, the file will be slow and will bog down on. So be in hidden line. But again, the color comes in no matter what once you set it up. So it's there. And again, this is why you need to be. You always need to make sure that the cold water, the system type is set to cold water, because if I switch this, if I switched it over to hot water or something, this one I can't switch it because it's coming out of the sink, so it knows to be cold water. But like if I switch this to like a hot water, when you're first doing it, you can switch it, but once the system's in and closed, you can't. It won't let you select anything else. It closes off. But like when you're first, like if I'm first adding in a pipe, I can make it be any type that I want it to be. But once I start connecting it to fixtures and closing it off, it limits what you can select. So like if I click on this pipe, I can only do sanitary because it's connected to the sanitary of the fixtures. So it starts to limit you on what you can pick. So that's something that you just want to be mindful of. And then obviously, like I said, when you click on fixtures, it says what's cold, what's hot, and then what sanitary is. So the hot and cold is typically the easiest things to run since piping small. And as I was getting to before, I showed you how to do the colors, to add colors to the piping. When you get so basically the size of so this is a 1/2 inch at the fixture, but like the size for the run itself is like you can see this is this size, and then I branch off to smaller size. Basically, it just depends on the number of fixtures that you have. Probably like 3 to 4. You could probably get away with like a 3/4 of an inch to an inch pipe for 3 to 4 fixtures that are being serviced. But obviously, the more fixtures you have, the bigger the pipe has to be. The main pipe that runs to it, and then but obviously at each fixture it only has to be a 1/2 inch. So you can see here, this pipe is a 1/2 inch. This is a 1/2 inch service in 2 fixtures. So you can split it off in many different ways. But the easiest way to do it, I'm just going to delete this off. So the easiest way, so you can start to run your piping however it's going to be. Your main lines and how this is in a wall, so that's why it's running there. And that's another reason why you want your building to be seen, because you want to see where the walls are and where everything's running through. This is just, like I said, this is just for display purpose. How I have it set up here. So if I go back in, so to start the pipe is for hot and cold water, you click on the fixture, click on this symbol, and it'll create the pipe. And then just come off of it 90, or to get into the wall, or however however it's located. Obviously, you want to be in the wall, so you want to make sure you're in the wall. But if you have this pipe drawn, you can just have the two like that, and then you can trim them, and when it'll add the fitting in automatically. The other thing you could do is you can select both of them and hit routing solution, and then it'll give you routing solutions that you can scroll through and see what type. So you can see here how Revit always wants to do the fastest way possible. So obviously that would be going not inside the wall. So that's why you got to be careful sometimes with the routing solution. It may not give you exactly what you want. So you can just trim. Easiest way is you can just trim. You can trim that way, or if I'm drawing this pipe, if I deleted this out, And then once you hit create pipe here, you get the same functions as I was showing you for the pipe. So I can come out, this thing's at 2'8", but I could come out a little bit, say I got to go into the wall. So at this point I'm into the wall, and then I can say I want to be 4 feet above the floor, and it'll start to go up for me. And then I can go over, and that's how you start to connect to the other pipe. And then you can go up, so I can go over to this. And then some things that you can do, you can use the align tool sometimes to line certain things up, which I'll show in a second. But so that's ways that you can play with the piping. I don't want to make like too long of videos to show every little thing that you can do. It's better to just play around with it, and you'll start to learn different things. And I can show you guys in studio certain tricks to get around certain things that are not working. The next thing that I want to show is the P-trap, which you have to use for your sanitary fixtures. Now the P-trap is something that you have to put in manually. It doesn't come in. So I'm going to delete my P-trap out. And I'm going to take this out for a second. But again, the sanitary lines for fixtures are the same, where you can just click on the sanitary pipe, and you can. This is what's tricky here is you can see how it won't let me go down. You see how I can only go to the side, or to the basically I can only go horizontally here. I can't go vertically. To do that, all you're going to do is, so this fixture is at 2 feet 6 above the ground. If I just say I want it 2 feet up, it'll give me a vertical. And then I can draw in, and then I can just delete out this stuff because I don't want I don't need that stuff. I'm going to add in a P-trap. So to add in a P-trap, what you do is you go to the system, and then you hit pipe fitting. And this will be loaded in after you transfer the project standards. So when you're in P-trap, you just scroll down. So these are all the different types of fittings that are set up to manually come in. The P-trap just doesn't come in manually. Let's see. So the P-trap, which is this one, so it comes in, and then you can see I can connect it to here, and it'll connect it like that. So you just have to be in the vicinity. So this is a P-trap, like this. See how this is highlighted? You can see the little blue right there, or the center line. It'll put it in, and then it'll align it. And then you can click on the P-trap, and you get to rotate. So you can rotate it, so it'll be the direction that you want. So I can just keep rotating it until it lines up that way. And then this is how I was talking about the align tool. Obviously, I want to get that to be at that height, so I can hit. I'm gonna zoom around so I can see. So I can hit the center here. And then if I zoom, rotate around, I can hit this center, and it'll align it so it matches up with a pipe that I may have already drawn. If it's not, and again, that was slope. So I'm actually just going to show you this quickly. So this is the pipe that I have. So this is my vertical riser that's going down, to connect to the sanitary line. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw I'm going to right click. So this is, I put my P-trap in for my sink. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to hit draw pipe. But this is one that you want sloped, and you always want to make sure it's going in the right direction. So this is going to need to slope down. So when you draw it in, you just want to see how it went up. So that way, you got to do the opposite slope. So if I go to draw a pipe, so this was sloping up, and then this slopes down. So when I put this in now, see how it went. I mean, it's very minimal, but it went down. And then you can just I can just align. I can trim these two